Hey guys, it's Malthus here once again, back with the previous character, but quite pivoted, and actually a very successful pivot at that. It's actually pretty unheard of that I try and salvage a character, if I'm not particularly happy with it, into a completely different thing, and, well, it comes out on top as well. Usually, if I have a plan, I do an experiment with a character or a build, and if it goes well, it goes well. If it doesn't, whatever, it doesn't, and we move on. This one I did have another idea for, and I kind of still decided I should go ahead and execute it, because I thought there was a bit more to the whole flask throw cast on crit thing than met the eye. With the blazing salvo situation, and turns out there actually is. The forbidden right angle with this whole pivot was much better overall as a build than the previous variant, and there's no particularly huge reason for that. It's just a bit more flexibility on the character, because I didn't really have to focus as much on elemental damage, negative resists, stuff like that, and also got to take advantage of the Pathfinder's 50% wither effect node, which is pretty big. On top of that, we did manage to get a couple thousand more energy shield into the build, because like I said, it's a bit more flexible gearing wise and stuff, and yeah, that just meant that I was a much more durable character and a more well-rounded character overall. I probably had 2 to 3 times more DPS than when I was playing Blazing Salvo, and then a good bit more life, well, energy shield and sustain. So once again, the character is Flask Throw, so Poisonous Concoction, bouncy version with cast on crit, except now it's Forbidden Rite. It still isn't using a weapon in the main hand. It is using infinite Flask Sustain tech, so that's just stacking Flask effect up to 100%, so that Dying Sun is doubled, and then everything else is doubled too, for that matter, and enough Flask regen with Tides of Time, Pathfinder, and increased charges gained, that you should have all of your flasks up 100% of the time. It ends up being kind of your own version, your own Mage Blood at home, but also for unique flasks, and from there you kind of just do whatever. In this case, I ended up doing Forbidden Rite because it actually made sense for the synergy of the skill and the build. And yeah, try and get your crit up and some attack speed up as well, and all of a sudden you've got yourself a bit of a build. The largest part of sustain for this build comes out of 30 or 29 energy shield on hit Watcher's Eye, as well as some instant leech mastery and a bunch of actual leech from both the flask effect and the passive tree. So leech comboed with energy shield on hit means that we have quite a lot of sustain with 8 KES, and it just ends up being, yeah, a pretty damn smooth build. And you can indeed still do this with Lancing Steel. I also tried Lancing Steel out. Of course, Lancing Steel of spraying is good, but it's a bit different. It probably maps a bit better, but then I think the single target is actually a bit better for bouncy flask throw for some reason. Part of that, I think, may be that it actually does some of its own damage. The way we've kind of built in the end is kind of hybrid enough that the flask throw itself actually has some DPS and has some mana leech, which helps sustain our mana. And yeah, in the end, you can see I do die right here, I think it is, for this tier 17, but I actually started farming tier 17s on this character well enough. I did 3 or 4 runs with some kind of map mods, and even put on some all flames for like exiles and various shit, and did some stuff like rituals inside of these harvests, and it was actually by far the most successful tier 17 character I've had this league. By all means, still don't love tier 17, still felt pretty fucking bad, but this actually had the means to take on 17s without it being too painful, because we could take on most of the map mods pretty comfortably and had good sustain in the character as well. Of course, we'd still take some damage here or there, as you can see, but each one of these T17s that I ended up clearing probably cost me like 2 deaths, maybe 3 maximum, and that is vastly better than almost every other build I've done through tier 17s, where I'd either brick the map, take a bunch of deaths, or yeah, barely squeak by. This one I felt confident in every one of these maps, and it felt pretty damn good. like I said, you can do a lot of the map mods, so we don't care too much about less recovery because we're all instant recovery. We don't care about no recovery because we have really good recovery. We don't care about energy shield regen or recharge. We have mana leech. We have 85 to all the resists, which is pretty important, and I'm also using a topaz flask, you might notice, which is 87 resists, so we have good max resists. The flask uptime is 100%, and the DPS is substantial enough that we can get through little encounters without it being too much of a problem. So I was actually very happy in the end with this pivot, and I ended up playing the character for a bit longer as well. Through endgame, I did a bunch of tier 16s, some feared runs, while being rolled with some damage mods and stuff, and still retaining my XP. And overall, just a very strong setup for a character, I think. Like I said, I think the Lancing Steel version is still very doable, and probably a bit easier to build because you can just have a hits cannot be evaded weapon, and then you don't have to care about accuracy whatsoever. So if you want to do that, you by all means can, but I liked the novelty of Flask Throw, and it was very viable and even felt better in some cases. So I was pretty happy with that end result as well. So I wanted to leave with a Uber Maven. It's one of the only Ubers I've done this entire fucking league, but first of all, let me just go ahead and show you a little bit about how I changed the character to make it what it is now. So it won't be a full guide, just a real quick difference in like build for one to the next. There's not that much difference at all. Like the layout is basically the same, but I've changed the elemental clusters to become chaos ones with a little bit of extra chaos stuff. So 3 passive chaos, whatever the fuck. You're mostly looking for unholy grace and then whatever else. And then the mediums still end up being the same. So I'm not even using a good one here, I don't think. Either Storm's just a bit of crit, while the non-ailments doesn't do shit. So that's basically the same, and then this cluster up here also changed to another chaos cluster again. Rolled both of these myself with I think some harvest, just chaos rolls, or some something else, fossils with extra chaos rolls, and got a bit of extra just proj stuff over here. Our jewels then no longer really have to triple balance Wise Oak, so just whatever you can get there, bit of extra damage, energy shield, and then also ditched these nodes here, and that just let me do a few extra things, basically. If you're doing like Lancing Steel and hits cannot be evaded, you end up dropping these accuracy nodes, and you don't have to care about accuracy in the form of precision, but I fixed that fairly easily and then did that. And we also change out of this into this, and then we get good wither effect. Aside from that, I did change gloves because Dorianis no longer do anything, and just a fuck ton of energy shield and whatever you need on them. So these are my previous gloves from another build repurposed, a bit of extra multi and then otherwise energy shield, and I also crafted a whole new ring, a Iolite ring that has some cast damage, and then I used envy essences until I got int, basically either int or percent energy shield, as it's a crusader base. That's what I was going for, and yeah, int is still pretty good because it gives us a lot of energy shield. And then I changed my amulet into a +1 chaos that I just ended up rolling with scorn essences until I got something that I wanted. I did want percent energy shield and the ability to craft minus mana, but doesn't really matter. Got some stats, and then some flat energy shield, and crafted that myself. But yeah, the main way we ended up fixing mana was through the actual hit base of the skill, and then leech with these nodes, and then instant leech made it a lot more manageable. So when I did do Lancing Steel as a test, I was running out of mana because it didn't actually have any damage of its own, and my leech was actually sustaining me a lot. So it's only when I actually end up putting in added chaos as a support gem that I could once again leech off of Lancing Steel, and then it would in turn sustain my mana. So be careful of that if you're going to do something like this. A lot of my mana sustain does come from the leech, at least I think anyway. And then Void Manip over here as a support, and Forbidden Rite 2120. Yeah, maybe in a hat, I don't know. I think I changed hat. I did change hat, that's right. Just grave crafted a hat with some int and good prefixes. Pretty easy stuff, bunch of defense, some stat roll, and you got yourself like perfect hat. And yeah, that's about it. And the character became quite a lot better, I think, and quite a lot more playable. And so far, for me anyway, at the moment, this is my build of the league. So with that, I'll leave you with my Uber Maven kill on this character. Wasn't sure how it was going to go, but I think it ended up going pretty well. Thank you very much for watching. See you guys next time. So this could be a brick, because I don't think the deeps is crazy for it, and I do have to avoid pretty much everything. Oh, we do it live. Literally doing it live. Maybe it's just so unforgiving, man. Because if you like fuck up anything, it's really hard to ever come back. It's just like, well, you probably just have to try again. Okay, we've picked our spot now, it seems. It's doable, but yeah, it's gonna take some actual fucking work. Like if I mess anything up, I'm fucking dead, and it's really hard to recover.
I will have what I want. It will not be an escape.
Arms are sweaty too. It's an actual boss fight.
I agree with Method. We back.
Thanks, Alex. 50 months.
I agree with Method.
Damn, that was a bad combo. Thought I was gonna get clipped by that. Thanks to 81 months.
I agree with Method.
Scurry, scurry.
In chat, thanks for the 500 subs.
I agree with Method.
The timing!
Do what I say.
I agree with Method.
Take this.
I agree with Method.
Cascade of pain. Stand still.
Ooh.
I agree with Method.
Do what I say.
Ooh. As long as I played any leg, I don't know. 1 day, 7 hours. That's hardly the longest thing ever.
I agree with
Why are
Method.
you guys trying to PK me with money? It's rude. Thanks for sending gift subs info. Appreciate it. Very
I
kind.
agree with Method.
Man's trying to focus here.
Cascade of
No.
I agree with Method.
Ooh.
escape.
I think they could have just straight up comboed me.
I agree with Method.
Scurry, scurry.
I agree with Method.
A cascade of pain.
Am I fucked? Oof, not fucked. I love it.
I agree with Method.
Stand still.
Jesus. I was for sure walking into a beam there.
I agree with Method.
Take this.
Permission.
Stand still.
I agree with Method.
A cascade of pain.
Ow! Damn.
I agree with Method.
It will not be an escape.
I agree with Method.
Okay. 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 Okay.
Scurry, scurry.
Think I've figured it out. I'm a genius.
Do what I say.
Huh.
Stand still. A cascade of pain. Take this.
Ugh.
Stand. I require aid.
No! I failed! Yo, it's a melee splash, I'm rich!
Play our contests, or it continues to play. You?
What is this
I
loot?
should do this again soon.
Children are capricious, Nomad.
What do I, minus 100 divines on that shit or something?
Will fade soon enough.
Viridi's is nothing.
Contrition.
And a melee splash? Actually, melee splash was worth some money because of something. But probably not anymore. 10C. Fuck! I'm pretty sure early in the league it was worth money because I wanted one and I couldn't get one. Plus 2 cold. Is that anything? Huge! 20C. Why so little money?